Story 1. Being a delivery driver for several pizza places a few years back, I had a lot of experiences with weird customers or just strange things that would happen at night. But this one night takes the prize for the most disturbing and unusual situation. I had been working at a specific chain pizza shop for just under a year, mainly doing mid-shifts and night shifts alongside my co-worker, Tom. It would stay busy basically up until closing at 2 AM, so there wasn't a ton of time to mess around, especially since it was just the two of us. I'll call my co-worker Tom to keep his privacy. Tom was older than me by a few years and was a quiet hard worker. He was in charge during the night shifts and would make all the pizzas while I would deliver them. Both of us would answer calls, depending on who was busy and who wasn't. Anyway, it was just past 11 PM and I had gotten back from a delivery when the phone rang. Seeing Tom in the middle of making a pizza, I picked up the phone. The man on the other line spoke, asking for a large sausage pizza. I put in the order and asked if he needed anything else. The man didn't answer for a moment, then he repeated himself, saying that he'd like a large sausage pizza. This time, I could tell through the way he mumbled it out that he was likely drunk. I confirmed that he just wanted one pizza, and the man said yes. I sent the order through, then grabbed my next delivery and dropped it off. Getting back to the shop, Tom had finished the guy's order and prepped it for delivery, so I grabbed it off the counter and ran to my car. I noticed as I was grabbing the order, though Tom was giving me a weird look, as if he wanted to say something to me but he decided not to. Again, though, Tom was pretty quiet and soft-spoken, so it wasn't very odd. The address was a good 15 minutes away, but there was no traffic at this time, so I got there pretty early. The house was normal but had a lot of land on either side, with the neighbors' homes barely visible through the trees. I got out and went around to the passenger door to pick up the pizza, then I headed up to the porch and knocked on the door. A few seconds later, a man came and opened the door wide open. This wasn't all that strange, but I always found it odd when people would open their door that wide as it was just unnecessary. But his face when he saw me seemed very confused and surprised, as if he hadn't expected to see me. Figuring he was just drunk and out of it, I handed him the box and told him his total, to which he slowly and awkwardly handed me cash without saying anything. He held the box of pizza while standing in front of me and looked at it with a strange intensity. Then he moved his eyes up towards me, but not at me. He was looking over my shoulder, like he saw something but was just staring at it with that same intensity, before shaking his head slowly, as if he was saying no. Getting really uncomfortable watching this man, I couldn't help but look back. I turned my head over my right shoulder and looked toward the driveway. A few feet from my car was a hooded man running back towards the trees. My heart jumped, and I felt my body go into a sort of shock, trying to figure out what to do. I turned back around to face the man at the door, but he immediately stepped back and slammed the door shut. It all happened so fast, in just a matter of seconds, and gave me no time to react. With the door closed in front of me, I turned to face the hooded man again, but he was lost in the dark tree line. I stumbled off the porch and ran to my car, backing out of the driveway as soon as possible and driving back to work. During the drive, I tried to calm myself, but I still couldn't understand what had happened. When I got back, I told Tom about the encounter, but he seemed to have a very little reaction and simply told me to deliver the next order when I was ready. I did as he said, but on my way back from the delivery, I ended up pulling over and calling the police to let them know, just in case. They said they would have an officer check it out and call me back to update me. I got a call an hour later, and once I got out of work, I waited in the parking lot for the police to show up and talk to me. When the officer came up to my car, he mentioned that he talked to the man at the residence who matched the description I gave him. The guy told the officer that he was just waiting for his buddy Tom to show up, since he knew he worked at the pizza shop. When asked about the hooded man, he gave no details, saying he didn't know anything about that and he didn't see anyone. With that information, I was even more horrified and confused. I thought maybe they called, thinking Tom was a delivery driver, and were setting him up so that they could jump him. That would explain the hooded man by my car and the surprise of the guy at the door. I also think back to that look Tom gave me, thinking maybe he was going to warn me of something. I talked to Tom on multiple occasions about it, though, but he gave me quick, useless answers, saying the guy was just an old friend and that he didn't know anything about anything. I moved on to another pizza shop very soon after that incident. But now that the horror of the situation is in the past and I know it likely wasn't a target on me specifically, I enjoyed trying to figure out the mystery. I still don't know for sure what the situation was, but it was by far the strangest and creepiest I've ever had. The events that night left me with a sense of unease and a lingering feeling that there was something more sinister at play. It made me question the true nature of the customers I encountered during my deliveries and the secrets that lurked in the darkness of the night. As time went on, I couldn't shake off the nagging curiosity that consumed me. I delved deeper into researching similar incidents and bizarre occurrences in the area. I discovered stories of disappearances, mysterious figures lurking in the shadows, and rumors of a secret society conducting dark rituals under the cover of night. The more I uncovered, the more I became convinced that there was a hidden world operating beneath the surface of the ordinary. The pizza shop seemed to be a mere front, a gateway into this unknown realm. I couldn't resist the temptation to dig further, to understand the true nature of that fateful night and the strange connection it had to the pizza shop and its enigmatic employees. Months passed as I immersed myself in the investigation, piecing together fragments of information and unearthing clues that led me deeper into the darkness. I reached out to former co-workers from the pizza shop, seeking answers from those who had shared that eerie environment with me. One by one, they revealed cryptic details, whispering about secret meetings, coded messages hidden within the pizza orders, and a pervasive sense of danger lurking just beyond their peripheral vision. The more I learned, the more I realized that I had stumbled upon something far more sinister than I could have ever imagined. It wasn't just strange customers or isolated incidents, it was a web of secrets, an intricate tapestry woven with threads of fear and darkness. I managed to track down an ex-employee who had left the pizza shop under mysterious circumstances. We met in a secluded coffee shop, where he cautiously glanced around before starting to speak. He revealed that the pizza shop was a front for a clandestine organization involved in occult practices. According to him, certain orders held hidden meanings, indicating specific locations and times for their gatherings. The man I encountered that fateful night was part of this secret society, and the hooded figure lurking in the shadows was likely a fellow member. Their intentions remained unclear, but it was evident that they were involved in something deeply unsettling. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I delved deeper into the dark underbelly of the pizza shop. Late at night, I discreetly infiltrated the premises, searching for any evidence that could corroborate the ex-employee's claims. My heart raced as I explored hidden rooms, stumbled upon cryptic symbols, and uncovered a hidden basement concealed behind a bookshelf. The basement revealed a chilling scene, an altar adorned with sinister artifacts, an ancient tome filled with ominous incantations, and remnants of rituals recently performed. The air itself seemed heavy with malevolence, and a sense of impending doom settled over me. I knew I had ventured into something beyond my understanding, something dangerous. As I continued my investigation, paranoia gnawed at me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that the members of this secret society were aware of my presence. The line between reality and nightmare blurred as I found myself trapped in a sinister game, where every step I took brought me closer to the heart of darkness. At the same time, strange occurrences began to haunt my daily life. I would receive anonymous phone calls with distorted voices, whispering cryptic messages that hinted at dire consequences if I didn't cease my investigations. My dreams became plagued with nightmarish visions of hooded figures and chanting rituals, leaving me in a perpetual state of fear and unease. I knew I had to tread carefully, for my life was in jeopardy, but the burning desire for answers pushed me forward, even as the walls closed in around me. I sought the assistance of a private investigator specializing in the occult, hoping that his expertise would shed light on the mysteries that consumed me. Together, we uncovered more pieces of the puzzle, revealing a dark network that extended far beyond the confines of the pizza shop. The secret society had deep roots in the city, its influence reaching into the highest echelons of power. They operated with impunity, conducting their sinister rituals under the guise of an innocent pizza delivery service. As the investigation progressed, the stakes grew higher. The secret society became aware of our pursuit, and they would stop at nothing to protect their dark secrets. Our lives hung in the balance as we raced against time to expose the truth and bring an end to their reign of terror. In a final climactic confrontation, we confronted the leaders of the secret society, exposing their malevolent deeds to the world. The truth emerged, and the pizza shop became synonymous with horror and deception. The members were apprehended, and the shop was permanently shut down, its facade of normalcy shattered forever. Though the nightmare had ended, its scars remained etched deep within my psyche. The experience forever changed me, leaving behind a lingering fear of the unknown and a relentless curiosity that propelled me towards uncovering hidden truths in the darkest corners of the world. And so, I continue my journey, a relentless seeker of truth, aware that there are still untold horrors lurking in the shadows, waiting to be unraveled. The pizza shop may be a closed chapter, but the echoes of its secrets reverberate through my mind, reminding me that darkness can hide in the most unexpected places, even behind the innocent facade of a pizza delivery. Story 2. One Sunday night, I embarked on my usual routine of driving for both DoorDash and Uber Eats, hoping to maximize my earnings. It was a hustle my friend had taught me, and it seemed like a great way to make extra money per hour. One of the drawbacks of delivery services was the downtime spent waiting for orders to come in. However, by working both apps simultaneously, I could eliminate the idle moments and keep the cash flowing. So, I spent a few hours zipping back and forth between houses and restaurants, juggling orders and deliveries. During one particularly busy night, I received a small order from a nearby restaurant. However, the customer's address was quite far away. These were the frustrating orders since you had to drive a long distance for relatively low pay. Nevertheless, this particular order offered a substantial tip, hinting at the possibility of a generous reward. Without hesitation, I accepted the order, picked it up, and embarked on the 25-minute drive to the customer's address. Halfway through the journey, my phone rang, indicating an incoming call from the app. Presuming it was the customer, I answered, ready to provide any assistance they might need. The voice on the other end confirmed they were indeed the customer and began apologizing profusely. It turned out they had ordered from their friend's account and forgot to update the address. However, the customer assured me that their house was just around the block and proceeded to give me directions. Slightly skeptical, I asked for the address, wanting to be prepared in case I got lost. To my surprise, the customer responded, saying I would spot him waiting outside, and abruptly ended the call. Something about this interaction felt off, but I reasoned that forgetting to change the address was a plausible mistake. Besides, I wasn't one to be easily intimidated. Pressing on, I arrived at the supposed friend's house. Following the directions I had been given, the neighborhood road was dimly lit, creating an eerie atmosphere. As I approached the no outlet sign and noticed the road ended just a few houses away, I parked the car and reached for my phone to call the customer. However, before I could even dial, a sudden knock at my driver's window startled me. I rolled down the window, only to be confronted by a man with an emotionless, blank expression. Instantly, my instincts kicked in, and I quickly pressed the lock button as the man shoved a gun through the partially open window, pointing it at my head. Chaos erupted as more voices joined in, and a group of people swarmed my car, attempting to open the door handles. They barked commands at each other, their words blending together in a frenzy. My mind was in a state of shock as I stared into the barrel of the gun, unable to comprehend the situation fully. Estimating at least 5 or 6 individuals surrounding my car, I couldn't formulate any coherent thoughts. It was pure reflex that took over when the man holding the gun momentarily diverted his attention. Seizing the opportunity, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, propelling the car forward with an adrenaline-fueled burst of speed. Miraculously, the man managed to withdraw his hand just in time, the gun slipping out of his grasp as I accelerated down the street. As I reached the end of the road, I executed a swift 3-point turn, positioning myself to face the other end. However, to my astonishment, the assailants had vanished without a trace. There wasn't a single person in sight, neither on the road nor on the sidewalks near the houses. It was as if they had evaporated into thin air the moment I started driving away. As I made my way out of the neighborhood, a sense of urgency propelled me to dial 911. The operator listened attentively as I recounted the harrowing encounter, expressing concern for my well-being. They assured me that help was on the way and advised me to find a safe location and wait for the police to arrive. The minutes stretched into an eternity as I anxiously waited in a nearby parking lot, my eyes scanning the surroundings for any signs of the perpetrators. Fear and disbelief gnawed at me, wondering how I had ended up in such a dangerous situation. Questions swirled in my mind, but answers remained elusive. Finally, the flashing lights of a police car illuminated the night, pulling into the parking lot. An officer approached my vehicle, his presence a reassuring sight. I shared every detail of the incident, emphasizing the description of the attackers and their attempts to intimidate me. To my frustration, the officer explained that these types of gang-related attacks were unfortunately not uncommon in the area. Despite their best efforts, similar cases often yielded limited results due to the elusive nature of the perpetrators. However, they assured me that they would investigate the matter thoroughly, hoping to prevent future incidents. Days turned into weeks, and the initial shock of the encounter gradually subsided. Yet, the memory lingered, leaving behind a profound impact. I couldn't shake off the realization that, in that pivotal moment, my size and confidence had proven utterly insignificant. The experience served as a jarring wake-up call, highlighting the vulnerability we all possess. From that day forward, I became more cautious and vigilant, understanding the risks associated with interacting with strangers. I realized the importance of prioritizing personal safety and assessing potential dangers before engaging in risky situations. It was a lesson that extended beyond the realm of delivery services, permeating every aspect of my life. As I continued my work in the gig economy, I shared my experience with fellow drivers, emphasizing the need for caution and awareness. We formed a support network, exchanging safety tips and looking out for one another. Together, we aim to minimize the risks and ensure everyone's well-being in an unpredictable environment. While the case remained unsolved and the motives of my would-be assailants remained a mystery, I found solace in the fact that I had escaped unscathed. Each day brought a renewed sense of gratitude and a reminder of the fragile line between safety and peril. In the end, my decision to share my story wasn't fueled by fear or trauma. Instead, it stemmed from a desire to raise awareness and empower others to prioritize their personal safety. In the aftermath of the incident, I found myself grappling with a mix of emotions, relief, gratitude, and lingering unease. The trauma of that night had left an indelible mark on my psyche, a constant reminder of the fragile nature of life and the unpredictability of human interactions. To regain a sense of control and restore a semblance of normalcy, I made a conscious effort to prioritize self-care and seek support. I reached out to friends and family, sharing my experience and leaning on their understanding and empathy. Their unwavering support helped me process the trauma and gradually rebuild my confidence. As time passed, I began to delve deeper into the realm of personal safety. I enrolled in self-defense classes, eager to acquire the necessary skills to protect myself in challenging situations. The physical and mental empowerment that came with learning self-defense techniques became a source of strength, enabling me to face the world with renewed courage. I also sought solace in connecting with others who had experienced similar incidents. Online communities dedicated to sharing stories of survival and resilience provided a sense of camaraderie and a platform to exchange advice. Through these interactions, I discovered that my encounter was not isolated and that many had faced similar dangers in the line of work I had chosen. Motivated by a desire to effect change, I decided to advocate for enhanced safety measures within the gig economy. I reached out to local authorities, sharing my story and urging them to implement stricter background checks and safety protocols for both customers and drivers. Though progress was slow, I remained steadfast in my commitment to making a difference. In the process, I became an advocate for self-awareness and personal safety, delivering talks and workshops at community events and universities. I shared my story as a cautionary tale, emphasizing the importance of trust and intuition when engaging with strangers. By raising awareness, I hope to prevent others from falling victim to similar dangers. The experience had transformed me, not just in terms of my outlook on personal safety, but also in my approach to life. I learned to embrace gratitude for each new day and to cherish the moments that often go unnoticed in the busyness of everyday life. The encounter had instilled in me a profound sense of resilience and the determination to live life to the fullest. As the years passed, the memory of that haunting night gradually faded, becoming a chapter in the story of my life rather than defining its entirety. While the culprits may have evaded capture, I found solace in knowing that I had emerged stronger from the experience, armed with valuable lessons and an unwavering commitment to my personal well-being. Ultimately, I realized that the true horror of that night lay not in the terrifying encounter itself, but in the potential loss of hope and the surrender to fear. Story 3. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, grocery delivery services experienced a surge in popularity. Even after the initial wave subsided, many people continued to rely on having their groceries conveniently brought to their doorsteps. I found myself working as a picker for these orders, and due to the chronic understaffing, I often took on the responsibility of delivering them as well. Despite the demanding nature of the job, I actually found solace in driving to people's homes. It afforded me glimpses into different neighborhoods, allowing me to witness the diversity of architecture and the distinct styles of each community. Furthermore, not having to engage in face-to-face interactions with customers spared me from the constant barrage of inquiries and complaints, making the job somewhat more bearable. In most cases, I would simply leave the groceries at the designated doorstep, snap a picture as proof of delivery, and swiftly make my way to the next stop on my list. However, there were instances when I had the opportunity to meet the recipients and lend a helping hand with their groceries. One such person was Vesna, an elderly woman of Serbian descent who quickly became a familiar face in my routine. Every Thursday, like clockwork, Vesna would order the same set of items, and I became her regular delivery person. Initially, she would merely peek through the window as I dropped off the groceries, but over time, she grew more comfortable with my presence. Eventually, she ventured outside to greet me, and gradually, I began assisting her by carrying the bags inside and placing them on her kitchen counters. It was a small act of kindness that forged a connection between us. Through our interactions, I learned more about Vesna's life. She had recently lost her husband and lived alone in her spacious house. Her children lived far away and only visited during the holiday season. Despite her solitude, she remained strong, having once been a successful broker before retirement. I looked forward to our weekly encounters, cherishing the moments when we exchanged stories and shared a few laughs. One Thursday, as I arrived at Vesna's house, I immediately sensed that something was amiss. Unlike previous occasions, she wasn't waiting at the door, and to my surprise, it stood slightly ajar. Furthermore, all her blinds were drawn shut, shrouding the usually well-lit interior in an eerie darkness. Concerned, I approached the open front door and rang the bell. No response. I knocked, growing increasingly worried. Contemplating my next course of action, I wrestled with conflicting thoughts. As a delivery driver, my duty was to leave the groceries on the porch if no one answered. However, my friendship with Vesna prompted me to step inside and place the items on her counter, just as I had done countless times before. I cautiously entered, my senses heightened by the unusual silence and absence of light. Walking through the dimly lit house, I called out Vesna's name, hoping for a response. Silence greeted me, amplifying my growing unease. As I neared the exit, contemplating whether to contact the authorities, I heard faint movements emanating from the upper floor. A mixture of relief and trepidation washed over me, prompting me to call out to Vesna once again. Yet there was no reply. Curiosity tugged at my conscience, urging me to investigate further. Perhaps she had fallen or suffered a medical emergency. Unsure of how to proceed, I ventured back outside and climbed into my vehicle. I sat there, contemplating the peculiar situation that had unfolded. Should I call the police, or could there be a reasonable explanation for Vesna's absence? Driving around the block, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Returning to Vesna's house, I parked on the street and observed the house from a distance. Minutes passed, and my gaze fixated on the upstairs curtains. Suddenly, they twitched aside, revealing a figure peering down at me. It was a man, and his presence only deepened the mystery surrounding Vesna's disappearance. With a sense of urgency, I decided to retrace my steps, contacting the police to report the situation. Providing them with all the information I had, I couldn't help but wonder about the identity of the man I had seen inside Vesna's house. Had I narrowly escaped a perilous encounter myself? Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, yet there were no significant updates regarding Vesna's whereabouts. It became a haunting unsolved case, leaving me with unanswered questions and an unsettling sense of unease. Had Vesna fallen victim to a sinister plot? Was she still alive, held captive against her will? The uncertainty gnawed at me, leaving a lasting impact on my psyche. The incident with Vesna served as a stark reminder of the potential dangers that lurk behind closed doors and the vulnerability we all face when engaging with strangers. It shattered the illusion of safety I had built within my routine, forcing me to confront the harsh reality that any encounter, no matter how routine or seemingly harmless, can carry unforeseen risks. As time went on, I became more cautious in my interactions with customers, never taking their safety or mine for granted. Each delivery became a reminder of the delicate balance between trust and vigilance. It was a constant battle to find solace in my work while navigating the ever-present shadows of uncertainty. Reflecting on Vesna's disappearance, I realized the significance of community and the profound impact we can have on each other's lives. Despite our brief encounters, Vesna had become a part of my routine, a friendly face that brought joy to my Thursdays. Losing her felt like losing a connection, leaving a void that couldn't be easily filled. Today, nearly 3 years later, there have been no new developments in Vesna's case. The investigation remains open, but the trail has gone cold. The unanswered questions continue to haunt me, a reminder that even in our interconnected world, there are still mysteries that elude resolution. Whenever I drive past Vesna's house, a mix of emotions washes over me. It serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the fleeting nature of our interactions. I can't help but wonder if there was something more I could have done that day, a missed opportunity to intervene and potentially change the course of events. Vesna's absence lingers as a constant reminder of the risks we face in our daily lives. It has made me more cautious, more aware of the potential dangers that exist beyond the surface of our everyday routines. The memory of that fateful day continues to fuel my determination to prioritize safety and vigilance in all aspects of life, reminding me to never take even the simplest tasks for granted. As the years pass, Vesna's case remains etched in my memory, an unsolved mystery that serves as a sobering reminder of the unpredictable and often sinister nature of the world we inhabit. It stands as a testament to the importance of staying vigilant, cherishing our connections, and embracing the fleeting moments of joy and companionship that come our way. Years have gone by since Vesna's disappearance, yet her absence still resonates deeply within me. The unresolved nature of her case weighs heavily on my conscience, a constant reminder of the darkness that can overshadow even the most ordinary of lives. Driven by an insatiable need for answers, I found myself delving into the world of missing persons and unsolved mysteries. I spent countless nights scouring online forums, reading news articles, and connecting with individuals who had experienced similar situations. Each story, each name, served as a testament to the countless lives touched by the chilling embrace of the unknown. As I immersed myself in this quest for understanding, I stumbled upon a network of dedicated individuals committed to shedding light on cold cases. Together, we formed a tight-knit community, sharing information, supporting one another, and advocating for those who had vanished without a trace. It was through this network that I discovered a startling revelation, one that would reignite hope and propel me further along the path of truth. A retired detective, intrigued by the mysterious circumstances surrounding Vesna's disappearance, reached out to me. He had spent years investigating cases of missing persons, and Vesna's story had struck a chord within him. Together, we embarked on a joint effort to unravel the truth, determined to bring closure to Vesna's family and find justice for her. Our investigation led us down a labyrinth of leads and potential suspects. We combed through phone records, interviewed acquaintances, and explored every conceivable angle. The retired detective's expertise and my first-hand encounter with Vesna provided a unique perspective that allowed us to uncover hidden connections and overlooked details. In the midst of our inquiries, a breakthrough emerged. A neighbor, who had recently moved into the area, came forward with a startling observation. On the day of Vesna's disappearance, He had seen a suspicious vehicle parked outside her house. The description matched that of a known criminal involved in illicit activities. With this newfound lead, our investigation took a decisive turn. We delved into the criminal's history, uncovering a trail of unsavory connections and past offenses. It became increasingly apparent that Vesna's disappearance was not a random event, but a calculated act orchestrated by someone with malicious intent. As we pieced together the puzzle, the identity of the man I had encountered inside Vesna's house began to unravel. He was a former associate of the criminal, entangled in a web of deceit and betrayal. It appeared that Vesna had unwittingly crossed paths with individuals involved in a dark underworld, and her kindness and vulnerability had made her an unintended target. The evidence we gathered allowed us to present a compelling case to the authorities. The wheels of justice were set in motion, leading to the arrest and subsequent conviction of those responsible for Vesna's disappearance. While closure brought solace to Vesna's loved ones, it couldn't erase the pain and trauma inflicted upon her. Through this harrowing journey, I had learned that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, there is strength in unity and resilience in the pursuit of truth. Our efforts had not only brought justice to Vesna but also shed light on a broader network of criminal activity that had plagued the community. In the aftermath of the investigation, I decided to devote myself to advocacy and support for families of missing persons. I joined organizations dedicated to raising awareness, assisting in searches, and offering solace to those affected by the trauma of unresolved disappearances. Vesna's story had ignited a passion within me to make a difference and ensure that no one would endure the agony of uncertainty alone. As I look back on this journey, I realize that it is not just Vesna's disappearance that has shaped me. It is the resilience of the human spirit, the unyielding pursuit of truth, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of moments, there is hope. Vesna's memory lives on as a catalyst for change, a reminder that we must continue to fight for justice, advocate for the voiceless, and hold on to the glimmers of light that guide us through the shadows. Today, as I stand alongside those who seek answers, I carry Vesna's spirit with me, a beacon of resilience, a symbol of the indomitable human spirit. Her story has become intertwined with mine, a constant reminder of the profound impact we can have on each other's lives and the power we hold to create a safer, more compassionate world.